Hello everyone, welcome to this session about modern testing principles, the natural evolution of agile testing. Let me just move on to the next slide. Okay, sorry. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Mirza Šišić. I work as a tester for the past 5 years. I love memes pretty a lot. I believe in agile, somewhat maybe naively and idealistically. And I occasionally blog. If you want to learn more, just visit my portfolio website. And also I run a small meetup for the Ministry of Testing here in Sarajevo. So shortly about the topic. What we'll do, we'll be comparing differences between Agile and the modern testing principles. So we'll go over 10 of the Agile testing principles and the 7 modern testing principles. And we'll see how these two correlate to one another. And we'll also touch upon slightly a bit of a controversial side of the modern testing principles. So there are 7 principles of modern testing. Judging from the name, they seem to be very testing related, but in truth, they are more oriented towards quality and more towards people than specifically towards testing. And we'll go over each one of these on their own. So first one, our priority is improving the business. So testers should be focused on improving the business and not solely be focused on testing. So we here are to contribute for process improvements and make sure that we can give our best to improve the business because we have to get paid somehow. As you can see, this one is pretty pragmatic one. The next one is that we accelerate the team and use lean thinking and theory of constraints to identify, prioritize, and mitigate bottlenecks from the system. So basically, we are always striving to improve our processes and to cut waste, like lean is used in Japanese automobile industry. Basically, we always try to make things as minimalistic and as fast as possible to basically ship to production with higher quality and to do it faster also. And 3, we are a force of continuous improvement, helping the team adapt and optimize in order to succeed rather than providing a safety net to catch failures. So basically this means that QA are not there for this as a safety net for others, because in modern testing, everybody should be involved in the testing activities and contributing to quality, each in their own unique way. So we have product owners doing testing that is more oriented toward business logic, and then we have developers who are, in this case, would be in charge of doing more technical aspects of testing, such as automation, not just at unit and integration level, but also end-to-end automation as well as UI automation. So in that regard, the QA will not be only ones testing, and if somebody misses something, you can't say, oh, the QA will catch it, no worries. So that's not the case because everybody is involved, and this is similar to the whole team equality approach that is kind of known throughout the Agile. And 4, we care deeply about the quality culture of the team, and we coach, lead, and nurture the team towards a more mature quality culture. So this one means that role of the tester is somewhat changing from a dedicated testing specialist to more of some kind of a quality coach. So we advocate quality and try to bake it in deep within, kind of make it part of our culture, not just an empty shell of word. And principle number 5, we believe that the customer is the only one capable to judge and evaluate the quality of our product. So what does mean? Sometimes we say that QAs are like the last line of defense and advocate of the customer, but this is only partly true because only the customer can really say what they really want and what they really need. So we should keep an ear to the ground and make sure that we are listening to what the customer actually wants. So we should also do beta testing, things like user surveys, monitoring, and things like that to get real actual data from real life customers. So principle number 6, we use data extensively to deeply understand customer usage and then close the gaps between product hypothesis and business impact. So this is something actually that a lot of successful product companies do. Netflix does it pretty extensively. actually. They would dole out a certain feature to a small amount of users, like a test or like release, and they would see how they react. And another set of users would gain a different feature, and they would analyze and see which one is better adopted. So principle number 7. And we expand testing abilities and know-how across the team, understanding that this may reduce or even eliminate the need for a dedicated testing specialist. So in this meme, we can see the kind of a stereotypical display of these kind of biases and stereotypes where tester is trying to, oh, I love breaking things, and developer is kind of saying, oh, I love building things. So this is not really always the case. I mean, I met people from all other roles who are really amazing at testing, have a knack for finding edge cases, and being a tester doesn't mean you're the only one who can test well. It's a skill that can be taught, basically, and this is what it's trying to say, that this won't mean that testers will get fired or lose their jobs. They're just transitioning their role to kind of doing different things in the team. Okay, so that would be short for the 7 modern testing principles. And now we can take a glance of the 10 agile testing principles. These were coined up by Lisa Crispin and Jen Gregory. They have an excellent book on agile testing if you're interested on reading on this topic further. I think they has a part 2 as well. Anyways, the first agile testing principles is to provide continuous feedback. And within feedback, we want to make sure that feedback loops are short. And this is true not only for the product itself, but also for the team. I mean, if we're doing something right or wrong, we want people to tell us, especially if we're doing something wrong. We want to know about it as early as possible so we can act upon it. So, as this guy says, it can make us either bitter or better, and better is better than bitter. So, next principle is to deliver value to the customer. So this kind of correlates to the modern testing principle that only customer judges what is actually quality. And basically, delivering value to the customer should be on top of our mind. So we shouldn't be focused on delivering the perfect architecture or something like that. That's kind of implied, but we do the best that we can, but we have to think of the customer first. And sometimes that means making compromises and cutting back on something else. And principle number 3 for the agile testing principles. We should work to enable face-to-face communications. And this means that collaboration is kind of at heart of agile testing. So we can't have isolated teams of testers doing something that nobody knows about, and then people say, oh, they're just a cost, they're slowing down the release and all that. We should sit down together, and to facilitate kind of these sort of things, we should use pair testing, mobbing, and things like Three Amigos session, where people from different roles can go together a certain feature, look for bugs, and everybody will give their kind of a pretty much unique perspective. And the results are pretty good in my experience. So next one is to have courage. Basically, a lot of times doing Agile requires a lot of changes and in the mindset and also in the organizations who are implementing it. So having courage is essential in these principles, because it often requires us to do big things that might kind of force us to step out of our comfort zone. And next, we should try to keep it simple. So people say that simplicity is like the ultimate sophistication. So we should try to avoid anything that's redundant and try to simplify things as much as we can, you know, especially in terms of processes. And practice continuous improvement. You see, this was also mentioned in the modern testing principles as well, because they're actually inspired by these agile testing principles. So this means that we are never really done with improving. We keep on analyzing and iterating, and each iteration should be at least slightly better than the previous one. And we should also respond to change. So in today's world, where there are a lot of competitive markets, and every app has basically a lot of competitors, and people get easily frustrated if your application is slow and buggy. They'll just switch to competition. So we need to respond to change. We need to monitor trends in development, in user experience, and be quick to adapt to it. And next thing, we should self-organize. So basically, an Agile tester is not somebody who just sits around waiting for a project manager to assign his regression tickets or whatever in the QA phase and things like that. We should be proactive and seek to improve processes, do exploratory testing, even try to automate things, have sessions with other team members, especially coaching developers how to test better. And next, we should focus on people, because some processes tend to be too technical or rigid, and they forget that at the end of the day, software is built by people and usually for people. And we should not let this kind of slip our mind, because having focus on people is extremely important if we want to get quality results in the long run. And also, you should enjoy what you're doing. I mean, it's very hard doing something that you don't like and something that you're either repulsed by or bored by. So you should try your best to work on projects when you see that there is a purpose of doing this Agile thing or some Agile transformation, that there is a will to see it through, basically, and that way you'll be able to enjoy what you do and not feel miserable at the end of the day. And let's see how similar are these sets of principles. So, like I mentioned previously, all of these principles kind of revolve around people and not specific testing techniques or go into detail. So they are very, very high level and pretty much general enough not to go out of date anytime soon. And they put a high and very high emphasis actually on how important it is to make sure that you know what the actual customer wants. And this means sometimes having team members in direct contact with the customer. And on many projects, this is not the case. You will usually have, like on traditional projects, a business analyst or maybe product owner or somebody from the management who is in direct communication with the client or the customer, if you will. And in this case, sometimes requirements can get muddled. You can build something that's fantastic from an engineering perspective, but could be completely opposite of what the customer actually wanted. And sometimes there are situations where customer doesn't really know what they need, so they need a bit of a guiding hand from the technical people and from the business people as well. And aside from that, all these principles suggest both modern and Agile testing principles that testers are not the only ones doing testing, because that way, if testers are the only ones doing testing, they're the ones to blame, and testing is usually either skipped or rushed or done poorly because it's kind of a bottleneck. We have to release fast, but no, we have to do this regression test to make sure that we didn't break any existing features. And if we test earlier and if we divide the responsibility of testing, if we automate the stuff that makes sense when automating, then we can kind of pull these things off. Aside from that, all these principles focus on testers being like sort of a coach or a quality ambassador that doesn't just sit around writing test cases all day. Testers should be proactive in order to be modern and agile and coach others and promote quality, basically. And breaking silos and simply working for start in cross-functional teams can mean a lot. So does this mean that testers will be out of the job? Well, not exactly. I mean, there will be a lot of organizations where you require a lot of specific domain knowledge. So you have to be a real subject matter expert, and such industries will always require dedicated testers, and there's probably no changing that at all. And other places which are more flexible or progressive, should I say, like I said, testers should become this quality or test coach, if you will, kind of to guide efforts, to organize workshops, teach others on testing techniques and those sort of things. So I was a little late, so I'll try to keep it short. Just wanted to thank everybody of the sponsors for making this happen, and please let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. I'd be happy to take them.